Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Mishnah Yomi is holding in the 5th chapter of Eiruvin, Mishnah Gimel. Gimel is somewhat of a continuation of base, where we talked about two cities that are close enough together that we would consider them as one city. So here's Gimel. V'chen shlosha kefarim hamshuloshim. And so too, three cities that are in a triangular arrangement. We're going to see that two of the cities are in a line, and then there's a third city that's jutting out, way out to the side. And what we're going to do, the Mishnah says, is we're going to pretend that that third city jutting out is in between. We're going to pretend as if it's moved over and it's in between in a line with the other cities. So Mishnah says, Im yesh ben shnayim achitzonim. If the distance between these two outer cities, the cities in a line, is Mea ve'arbaim ve'echad ve'shalish, is 141 and a third. Now that might sound familiar because that's 2 megrash from yesterday's Mishnah. 70 and 2/3 was this area of a karpef that we would grant each city a karpef, and if they're within 141 and a third of each other, consider them as one city. So here too, if these two cities on one edge, the straight edge of the triangle, are within 141 and a third, we would consider them as one. So in that case, asa emtsoi et shloshton lehiot ke'echad. We can make the other one, the middle one, it's sort of, we're pretending it's in the middle. It's really jutting out to be the tip of a triangle jutting out. And if you look at, a lot of the Mishnahs have pictures, you'll see it's kind of sticking way out, potentially. We pretend it's in the middle, and all the cities can be as one. So the Mefarshim say it can't be jutting out too far. If it's jutting out 2,000 amot, that works, because that's really in the tchum, in the tchum Shabbos of the other cities. So if it's within 2,000, we pretend it's close enough to the other cities that what we're going to do is draw a box around all three cities. Like we're going to draw a rectangle around the triangle and pretend it's one big city, and then the real Tchum Shabbos will be 2,000 amot past that box, which is around that triangle. Mishnah Daled, Ein Modedin, we do not measure, Ela bechevel shel 50 amma, only with a rope that's 50 amma long. So they're going to take this 50 amma rope and actually measure 40 times to get their 2,000 amot tchum. Lo pachat lo yeter. Don't use a shorter rope or a longer rope. We're going to see there were extenuating circumstances where they had to use a shorter rope later on. Lo yimdod ela keneged libo. You only measure against the heart. This means really you hold the rope at chest level, so the next guy 50 amot away is holding at chest level, so it's not dipping down and making the rope shorter. Of course, you can have a Hasidic interpretation that really your heart is what matters, your midos, your kavana, your dedication to Hashem. The Gemara says, Rachmana liba bai, that even if somebody is not as intellectual as other people, if he's putting his heart into it, then that's what Hashem really wants. So it's a remez. It's a remez. Or so Mishnah continues, Hayamoded v'gia legoy ulegeder. If they're measuring and they get to a valley or a fence, mavlio v'chozu lemidaso. So then they would swallow up this terrain feature. So meaning one guy is going to stand on one side and one man will stand on the other side. Or if it's taller, they'll use a pole to lift up the rope and swallow that into the measurement of the techumin, but they'll go straight over. As long as they don't go outside of the techumin, meaning since they're using 50 amma ropes, if this valley or this fence, which could be really like a thick pile of rubble or like a mound, if it's bigger than 50 amma, then they're going to have to move perpendicular to where they're measuring to a place where it's less than 50 amma, so they can use their 50 amma rope. So we never use one longer. So if the valley is really wide, more than 50 wide, straight out of the city, then they're going to kind of sidestep over perpendicularly to where the valley is not so wide, and they can measure it, they can span it with their 50 amma ropes, and then they'll go back to their line that's coming straight out of the city. Now, they can't go outside the techumin when they do this because people in the city are going to see them measuring for the techumin, and if they've sidestepped really far where they're way out, 2,000 amma out to one side or the other to span this geographical feature, people are going to see them measuring the techum way out there and think that that way out there is inside the techum, when in reality it is not. If they can't get a place to span this feature with a 50 amma rope, Rabbi Dostoi, Rabbi Yanoi, Mishum Rabbi Meir, Shemati, I heard that what you do, Shemekadrin Baharim, you drill through the mountains. Now, this isn't literally with a drill making a hole through the mountains. It's that they have to switch to shorter ropes. They switch to 4 amma ropes, and they get a lot of men up there to measure this mountain, and each man stands 4 amma apart with these 4 amma ropes. And since it's a steep feature, it's steep incline or decline that they have to get over, so basically one man's holding the rope at chest level, Keneged Libo again, and it's going straight over to another man's foot because he's up higher. So every 4 amma, they're going up higher in elevation with these 4 amma across, and however steep it is up. So they sort of have to be mountaineers to do this job and to keep the rope straight, so they can measure using shorter ropes and measure exactly how far the mountain is. That's what made me quadrine. They're drilling through the mountain because they're getting the horizontal distance as if they had drilled straight through the mountain. Shkayach Rabazai, be well.